In other news, Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission plans to review the country's election guidelines to allow internally displaced persons to vote in the next election. Political activists are putting pressure on the government to make provision for a centralized voting system where nationals can easily vote without being restricted to particular polling stations. Nigeria has more than 3 million internally displaced persons, according to the United Nations, and many of them missed out on the 2015 and 2019 elections.
This is one of the many internally displaced persons camps in Nigeria. People here say they're excited and looking forward to the country's general elections next year.
I am really delighted that we displaced people get to vote next year, to vote for a leader that we hope will end the insecurity so that we can one day leave here and go back to our states and our communities.
The INEC and so on reach out to us to sensitize us about the need to vote, about our right to vote. They also begged us for their past activities not reaching out to us. So we have been encouraged. And the fact that polling booth units are to be brought in here give us confidence that really we are going to express our civic rights and vote when the time comes.
The decade-long insurgency in northeast Nigeria has displaced more than 2 million people from their homes, with thousands living in camps like this.
Farmers-herders clashes, killing and kidnapping for ransom, especially in the northwest and central parts of the country, have also led to the displacement of more people in the country.
Many IDPs did not vote in the elections that brought President Muhammadu Buhari to power because they were forced to relocate from the areas where they initially registered to vote. Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission has started the process to review its guidelines to allow displaced people to vote with ease. Part of the review is to have special arrangements to distribute voters' cards at IDP camps, a move that political activists say would include all eligible voters in the country's election process.
They will have polling stations closer to the IDP camps, and they will work with security agencies to ensure that you have security personnel to provide and guarantee protection of lives and property, and particularly the INEC ad hoc staff who would undertake this process.
The Commission has also made arrangements to ensure that IDPs are covered during the continuous voter registration exercise. Analysts say beyond providing security and bringing voting points closer to displaced persons, Nigeria's government needs to ensure an election system where Nigerians get to vote in any part of the country, irrespective of where they registered.
As we evolve in our democracy, I think it's important that we have a unified system where it is not hell-bent on permanent voters card, but a unique identification system as citizen, as a people and as a country, irrespective of where you are. Once you're eligible to vote, you don't have to be tied to a particular polling unit or polling booth.
Political campaigns are already in top gear, with candidates rallying support from Nigerians. The presidential and National Assembly elections are scheduled for February 25th, while the gubernatorial and state assembly polls are on March 11th, 2023. Ajek Mangut, SABC News, Abuja.
Let's speak now to Habib Oladapo, who is Programs Manager, Civic Media Lab, a media design and research center that works at the intersection of media advocacy, civil society and civic technology to deepen democratic practice and promote good governance in Nigeria. Very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So there has been a framework for IDPs, for the voting of IDPs since 2018. What is the latest document saying if there are changes in the legislation?
All right, thank you for having me. At the moment, we have an improved voters registration system that captures a whole lot of people, and with the automated system, more people have been brought into the voting register, and then it covers IDPs, it covers people with disabilities, it covers people that were not able to register in the past, and now we have a larger number of voters who are going to be able to vote in the next elections.
I mean, one of the biggest challenges in the past has been establishing a category, whether it's interstate or not. Walk us through this. What exactly is being envisaged?
Yeah, at the moment there are divisions by states of the registered voters, and now We have an improved number of awareness from the people, from the voters at this present moment. We have people who have felt disenfranchised in the past, who have felt being left alone by the government in the past. And this showed in the voters registration exercise that just ended. And we have like 12.2 million new voters that are joining the register. And this goes across board, across the nation, although there are more registered voters in some part than in some parts. And that is not unrelated to issues of insecurity in some parts, and still maybe issues of voters apathy that is a big problem in the Nigerian election system at the moment.
Has there been an official survey of late of the IDPs, including establishing their location? And I'm thinking about this given the fact that the conflict continues, so that in itself can be transient.
Yeah, the IDPs have been, should I say, disenfranchised for too long, but there is no accurate number at this present moment regarding the people that, of course, we have more people now than we had in the past because of the spread of insecurity across the northern part of the country and even into new regions like the southeast and the north central part of the country. So we don't have, I can't give a particular figure at the moment, but we have a wider spread of IDPs now, and this has not stopped voters registration in any way, but then it has impeded, but then a larger number of people are still being captured.
Then there's the issue of I believe maintaining alignment of the IDPs with their main constituencies and the delimitation of IDPs themselves. Have there been concerns about this being a loophole, a possible avenue, a gap for those who may want to commit election fraud?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part of the question.
So I'm talking about the vulnerability of election fraud, aligning the IDPs with their constituencies, the delimitation thereof.
Yeah. I have not seen any document from the INEC, the election umpire in Nigeria, to show how this alignment has happened with IDPs. But what we have seen is that there is a provision for everybody, a larger number of people to register. It remains to be seen what happens on the election day, if they are aligned to the voters, if they have opened up, the INEC has also opened up new polling booths, new polling centers where new people can go and vote. And then we have not seen the clear delineation of this. Remains to be seen, but I believe that a lot more spaces have been opened up for people in the IDPs to vote in the next election.
So in terms of permanent voters' cards, is this something that is envisioned? How is it going to work?
Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission said that it has provided 6 million out of the 12.29 million new voters. That's provided 6 million cards already, ready for collection. And the collection is still a little bit drab at the moment. The numbers are not very impressive. And the commission has also said that it is going to produce the remaining 6 million permanent voters card before the time of the election. So that means that we are expecting as much as 95 million new voters, 12 million new voters added to what we had in the past. We are expecting 95 million voters in the next election. And then, although the commission has also said it has deregistered 2.7 million people due to double registration, but then this should not have any impact on the larger number that we have. So the collection is currently going on and is going to continue to much later into the next year towards the elections. And we expect that much more people, as have shown interest in the registration, would also show interest in collecting the PVC that when available.
Has there been a previous stress case or assurance test that's been done about the reliability or at least the efficacy of this?
The efficacy of the PVC?
Yes. I mean, of the IDPs, allowing them to vote in the elections. Obviously, we've mentioned the fact that they haven't been able to vote in the last 2 elections. So I'm talking about an assurance test. Is the Independent Electoral Commission talking about this? Is there a stress test of sort that will talk to the reliability of extending the right to vote, this democratic right to those who are displaced by conflict?
Sadly, we've had some governorship elections in some states in the past year. Recently, we had in Osun State, in southwest Nigeria, and Ekiti, also in southwest Nigeria. And these states are not very known to have large IDPs. And the states with the high IDPs have not really had the test yet. But then it remains to be seen how INEC manages this. But there is no it has not been tested yet. It also goes even beyond the IDPs of how INEC is going to deploy its new technologies, its new systems to cover states with larger geographical size and larger populations as well. So it remains to be seen, but the INEC has given its word that it is ready to capture as much people and to enfranchise as much people and to get as much people to vote in the next election. So I believe that the IDPs, with the opening of new polling centers, have been covered, but then it remains to be seen on the elections day how it affects their ability to vote, and of course if they would turn out.